Today we're going to be covering The Hunt. Now, The Hunt originally was scheduled for the fall of 2019, and due to some real-life violence and controversy, the movie was pushed back to 2020. I had the fortune of seeing it in the theaters right before the coronavirus lockdown. So, I got to see it with my wife beside me, big bucket of popcorn, giant drink. One of the things that qualifies it for a Devil's Due movie review is I believe it was only in the theaters for one weekend before everything closed down. So the box office numbers are pretty much the opening weekend numbers. Now the movie had a budget of 14 million estimated, and it brought in 5 opening weekend. And when I went to the theater, it was on a Friday afternoon. Like I said, it was kind of a date with the wife. The theater was already almost empty for all films. Like it was a ghost town. People were already kind of scared of going out and getting infected, and social distancing was already in the news. So the box office was already hurting across the board. So I don't think 5 million is really an accurate number on what this movie would have pulled in under normal circumstances. The movie has a great cast. Hilary Swank is probably the most recognizable name. There are a whole bunch of character actors, people you see their face and you're like, I know they've been in stuff, but you just don't know their names. The star of the show in terms of putting in a great performance is Betty Gilpin, and I don't think I've seen her in anything. I've been told she was in Glow, but I've never actually watched that show. So this was my first exposure to her, and her character was an interesting combination of socially awkward but extremely confident. It was kind of like, I know I'm weird, but I don't care if you see that. And I really enjoyed the character she portrayed. The basic plot of the movie is a bunch of liberal elites kidnap some deplorables to hunt for sport, and some of the people they kidnap are truly deplorable characters. The movie does a good job of making fun of both sides. The liberal elites are pretty petty. They think they're better than everyone else. They have this weird moral code where they have no problems killing a complete stranger, but they'll still police each other's language for using non-PC terms. The other side, the people that are being hunted, it paints most of them as terrible people too. There's a character that's obviously a stand-in for Alex Jones, conspiracy theorist podcast guy who throws around terms like globalists. There's a guy that they show a picture of with a tiki torch, insinuating he's a white supremacist. So yeah, both sides are full of terrible people. That's kind of the moral, is everyone in the movie, for the most part, is a bad person. The tone of the film, it's marketed as a horror. It's by Blumhouse Productions, and they mainly do horror. But this movie is more of an action comedy. It is gory. It starts out with some pretty bloody sequences, so if you're not into that, you may want to pass. But my wife isn't into gore, and she thought the humor and the action was good enough to make up for the gore. So it is a very entertaining movie. I mean, she loved it even with the gore as a negative for her. Another reason it qualifies as a Devil's Due movie review is the critic score is about 50% on both Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic. It's may not be exactly 50, but it's very close to that. User score on Rotten Tomatoes, last time I looked, was high 60s, low 70s. So it's an above average, enjoyable film for most people, but the critics really seem split on it. And a lot of the negative reviews I looked at focused on the politics of the movie, which strikes me as weird because they make fun of both sides. The stereotypes that are on both extremes are present in the film. So if somebody got hurt by the politics of it, and that's the reason they didn't like the movie, honestly, I think it's because they're too thin-skinned and can't take a joke when it's their side being made fun of. So would I recommend it? Yes, 2 thumbs up. It was a really fun, enjoyable movie to watch, as long as you're capable of taking a joke. That's it for this installment. Until next time.